White text over images of past events. Fill in the blank. At CCAC, we are a volunteer-run nonprofit, a network of cultural administrators and people with disabilities. At CCAC, we are working together to make Chicago more accessible. As a member of the steering committee, you will guide CCAC forward by supporting the growth of accessibility and inclusion in Chicago's cultural organizations, fostering the growth of the Illinois Cultural Accessibility Network, facilitating a safe space for participants to learn and grow in their understanding of cultural accessibility, and advocating for connectivity and allyship across cultural sectors. Apply today at chicagoculturalaccess.org. Presentation slides on left 3/4 of screen. At top right is mini video of presenting speaker Hillary Pearson. First slide, steering committee.
Let's get started. So we're going to talk a little bit about what CCAC is and the steering committee. We have some really great representation in the room as well, with a lot of steering committee members here today. We're going to do about 15-20 minutes here of this video, of this PowerPoint, and then we're going to transition to some perspectives from current CCAC steering committee members. And we're also then going to open it up for discussion from folks in the rooms, any questions and follow-ups that you might have. So this first slide here that you are able to see is just an overview of our agenda for this PowerPoint. We're going to talk a little bit about the history of CCAC, our mission and philosophy, our organizational flow, the steering committee expectations. So just kind of an overview of if you are really seriously thinking about volunteering for us and applying, kind of what you can expect, what we support in the steering committee, and then, as I said, perspectives from current members and questions from the audience.
Next slide.
So the beginnings of CCAC. So a lot of folks in the room might already know this story, especially folks who are currently on the steering committee. But really, this all started with Christina Gunther when she came to Chicago and was really looking for opportunities to connect with accessibility allies and disability community, as she had found in New York through the MAC program, the Museum Access Group, yes. And so she looked around and didn't really find something similar, and so she began crafting her own group. So through some collaboration with Lynn Walsh and Evan Hatfield and other cultural administrators in the city, she began building this volunteer network and really got a lot of great, knowledge built and great, allies to begin building a volunteer group. So that all started in 2013, so 8 years ago. Pretty quick how time flies by. And then as that grew, professional development programs grew with that beginning between 2013 and 2015. And then they expanded into building a website in 2015 and developed an access calendar in that time where folks can go to the CCAC website and see accessible offerings for programmings around the city in Chicagoland and what's being offered. And then in 2016, the equipment loan program began. And that was a partnership with Steppenwolf, funded by the Michael and Mona Heath Fund and the PERT Foundation, to create a home for accessible equipment that could be loaned out across the city. And we'll talk a little bit more about that program later on. In 2018, it was nonprofit incorporation time. So the co-chairs and leadership of CCAC spent a lot of time, a lot of hours really figuring that out and creating, the blueprint for future strategic planning and, things that are happening now. And then now, as we're in 2020, there's been a major pivot to virtual programming and helping to ensure that we are really having a better understanding of what that means for accessibility. We have some new initiatives, such as the Illinois Cultural Accessibility Network that has started with partnership with Illinois Arts Council. And we're looking into the bigger picture of strategic planning for our next years and what that means to the organization. So in a nutshell, that's the history and kind of where things are headed for CCAC.
Next slide.
And then the mission and philosophy. So the mission of CCAC is to empower Chicago's cultural spaces to become more accessible to visitors with disabilities. That is really at the heart of everything that we are doing with our professional development, with the different tiers of programming. And we are serving this mission really by acknowledging that everyone, every organization is at a different place on their access journey. And that, incremental change, we are not here to say, this is how you do something, this is the right way. We are here to say, here's some things for your toolkit to help you as your organization make those changes, make those lasting changes, and to try to meet you where you're at. So knowing that incremental change is really what leads to lasting change, and building those steps towards that.
Final 2 points on the slide are positive encouragement and striving to go beyond compliance, and volunteer run at every level of the organization. Next slide, Speaker Emma McLean.
So here is kind of how the organization works, so you have context of how it all comes together. So there's an executive committee of the board who act on behalf of the board and oversee co-chair selection and meets regularly with the co-chairs, so that they're kind of the biggest part, the overseers of the whole organization. Then there's the board of directors who oversee legal and fiduciary responsibilities, relationships and partnership building, and fundraising and grant writing oversight. So
next slide.
Those are two levels of the organization. And then below that, we have the steering committee co-chairs who oversee the day-to-day work of CCAC and the steering committee. They maintain financial records and tracking, ensure program goals are mission-based and obtainable. And then what you're here, I'm sure, to learn more about, steering committee members. So the members oversee the planning, execution, support of mission-based programming. So doing professional developments like what you're experiencing today. And then steering committee members also work to build relationship with cultural orgs and disability communities across the city so that the steering committee can continue to do their work and meet and build those relationships with other people doing access in the city. And then supporting other administrative needs as necessary. And we'll get into kind of what some of those opportunities are.
Next slide.
Steering committee expectations. So really qualifications for applicants, and you'll see this on the call for applications materials that we'll be sending you all in the chat towards the end of this program. It's not an all or nothing. We really are looking for folks who have different areas of expertise and who are on different maybe parts of their journey with a lot of this information, but experience with program creation, administrative skill, knowledge of accessible technology is something that we look for. Professional or personal experience with disability and accessibility at cultural institutions, since that is the heart of where we are hoping to make some impact and change. Having a passion for making cultural spaces more accessible, as you're a great communicator and are able to manage your time independently, are also big indicators that you'll find some success as a volunteer in this group. And CCAC values the experiences of people with disabilities, and individuals with disabilities are encouraged to apply.
Next slide.
And then we also have a few notes on kind of expectations for the term for being a committee member. Steering committee members commit to a 2-year term. It's typically going to start in the summer, like August through 2 years into like May, June. So it's really operating on our busiest part of the year is really following the school calendar. Really, we have programming through really September through wrapping up in June. Involvement with subcommittees assigned on an annual basis. So we do have we have a lot of programs to support and a lot of branches of the mission to serve. And we'll talk a little bit more about those specifically later on. But you are expected to be involved in those subcommittees and assigned tasks and working in smaller groups for that. We'll have some periodic status and progress check-ins with co-chairs, either annually or quarterly, kind of depending on what's needed. And opportunity to remain on the steering committee for additional terms upon annual review and goal setting with co-chairs. So it's not a one term and done situation. It can be, but if you are, wanting to remain on and are, contributing and, there's an opportunity for growth, then there's opportunity to remain with the committee.
Next slide.
And then time commitment and additional responsibilities. There is an image here on this page of all of us in one of our first virtual meetings of 2020, when we all thought Zoom was fun and cool and that we'd be doing it for like a month. So we're all smiling and looking toward the camera and engaged in this new platform. So, but really time commitment and responsibilities, we do have monthly meetings, steering committee meetings in person or via conference or virtual, depending on, the year. And then there's professional development events that, are really a part of supporting, attending, participating in, are really critical. Participating in additional subcommittee communications and meetings outside of those monthly meetings. So like I said earlier, of taking on those responsibilities to help support the branches of the mission. Email communication is a must, really being able to respond to something, within 2 days with a high rate of response time. And then leadership areas, there's a ton. There's programming professional development topics for the year. There's leading professional development programs. A lot of times our steering committee members are doing the intro about what CCAC is all about, or are lending their cultural expertise to a specific subject matter. And then within those subcommittees, there are leads on those subcommittees to kind of keep the ball rolling and make sure that, all the pieces are falling into place. And then constant, sort of like improvement processes and just kind of like continuous improvement of our processes and making things better and trying to add new layers and learning and growing from, all of our experiences, because we are not the experts on anything, and we are all learning and growing, especially as technology changes and, the way we consume art and culture changes.
Next slide.
I'm going to now talk about kind of what are some of the projects that the steering committee does. And I think I'll take this opportunity before we kind of dive into these deep topics that CCAC does a lot of different stuff, but at the same time, there is a lot of support. So there are multiple people who will work together on these projects. There's always someone who's there to like pick something up if you have to put it down. So especially as we kind of dive into the multitude of things that CCAC works on, I don't want you to feel intimidated or overwhelmed. It's a very supportive community of people. So I will start by talking a little bit about our access calendar. So we maintain a calendar of accessible events presented all throughout the Chicagoland area. Organizations submit events to us and indicate what accessible services they'll be providing, like captioning or ASL interpreting. The events are reviewed by the Access Calendar team, which right now includes myself and Claire, who is also on this call. And then the events are put into CCAC's online access calendar and shared with the League of Chicago Theaters. Obviously, the pandemic has heavily affected the calendar, but we look forward to in-person opportunities again where we can promote access.
Next slide.
Another branch of what we do is the equipment loan program. So this is free short-term equipment loans to the Chicago area organizations. We want to help organizations that are interested in access but don't have the funds to buy accessible technology. So the idea is that you can borrow this technology from us, prove to your colleagues that it maybe is a worthwhile investment, and then work towards budgeting for access in the future. So we want to make sure that this equipment is available to orgs, and we also want to help use the equipment loan as an opportunity to promote organizations moving towards more accessible models and doing that work on their own.
Next slide.
So the way the equipment loan program works is we maintain an inventory of equipment at the Peggy Notabart Nature Museum, which then can be used by Chicagoland area nonprofits. So organizations would submit requests, then they are reviewed by our team and filled out the required paperwork, and then we confirm and coordinate those opportunities. I used the equipment loan program before I became a steering committee member. It was really, really excellent and made it possible for us to provide captioning for a show that otherwise that would not have been possible for.
Next slide.
So some of the stuff that is available includes audio description kits, assistive learning systems, portable assistive listening systems, and DIY captioning equipment.
Correction from slide. Equipment includes stationary and portable assistive listening devices. Next slide.
And then the biggest branch of what we do is our professional development. So we have offered over 40 educational programs, engaging more than 2,000 cultural administrators. I will say the pro of Zoom, since always trying to look for that silver lining, has been just our ability to expand our reach and engage with audiences and speakers from outside the Chicagoland area, which has been really, really exciting for us, and has created opportunities to meet with people who we might not otherwise have had the opportunity to.
Next slide.
We offer all different kinds of trainings. So we often offer an intro to accessibility, deeper dives into specific topics, book club style events where participants are encouraged to watch or read something before they attend and then engage with that material in the professional development. Lunch and learns like what you're attending today. So there'll be 2 more lunch and learns coming in March as kind of a casual opportunity to talk about topics that maybe we wouldn't spend a typical 3-hour training on, but still are exciting to engage with. And then also our socials, which are opportunities to meet others in the field of access, meet and talk with other people. It's a really fun time.
Next slide.
So the desired audience for these contents, it will change depending on what the actual topic is, but we really want to engage cultural professionals wherever they are. So that might be museums or theaters, gallery spaces. It might be the education staff at an organization. And really our goal is we want professional development to not be intimidating. Back to our mission of kind of knowing that incremental change is the kind of change that lasts. We don't want access to be something that feels so far away that our organization could never do it or I could never do it. It's all about those small steps to make access, possible and integrated wherever you are.
Next slide.
And then a new initiative that we've been working on is ICANN, or the Illinois Cultural Accessibility Network.
Speaker, Brittany Pyle.
Hillary and Andy Wilson and I are on the steering committee for CCAC and also participate on the ICANN team. So it was birthed this summer to expand to arts and cultural professionals throughout the state of Illinois. So it's kind of a version of what CCAC does, but just expanded. And we started small. CCAC grew to implement professional development and then other features like that access calendar, like the equipment loan program. But we're starting small here and just focusing on professional development and being able to answer people's questions as they're getting started on their access journey throughout the state of Illinois. So it is a volunteer network, just like CCAC. It was made possible through a grant from the Illinois Arts Council agency. So we partner with them on all of our professional development. And we do have a calendar of opportunities. It currently lives on the CCAC website. So there is a separate page for ICANN, but it does blend in with our offerings. And the listserv for ICANN is blended with CCAC. So we've really just expanded from that Chicago region all the way throughout the state. And we, this year, we've got about 85 new people that are specifically ICANN that have joined up with the listserv and participate in our professional development opportunities. So we'll have more coming through the rest of this calendar through May, June.
Next slide.
All right, and then another branch of what we do is fundraising and grant writing. So being able to continue to support this work, we got to find money to be able to do that. So if you are someone who is interested in funding or grant writing opportunities, there's definitely an opportunity for you on the steering committee. The steering committee members also assist with reconciliation of annual fund gifts and writing thank you notes and light bookkeeping. So if that sounds intriguing to you, there's definitely opportunity for that. And we host at least one large fundraising event each year. And doing solicitations and getting the word out is really, really important to support what we're doing and make sure that we can continue doing it.
Next slide.
And then also social media. So this is an area that we're looking to grow a little bit on the steering committee, looking for people who are really excited about managing social media like Twitter and Facebook and LinkedIn to make sure that CCAC is as visible in that space as possible. It will look like sharing materials and that sort of thing.
Next slide. Photo of CCAC social event with SC members posing with goofy grins and gestures.
And then most importantly, hopefully we haven't scared you off with all the serious talk. Involvement with the CCAC steering committee is about collaborating with passionate peers in a fun, open environment who are all advocating for the same thing, the inclusion of more people in cultural experiences. So you know, work hard, play hard. We really want to make sure that there are opportunities for people to be included, and that includes being included in fun.
Next slide.
So at this point, there are some other steering committee members on the call. And so rather than just hearing from myself and Hillary, we wanted to make that opportunity available. So if you are a current steering committee member and one of these questions is jumping out to you, I encourage you to unmute yourself and maybe tell us a little bit about why you are engaged with the steering committee.
Hey everyone, hey Emma, this is Lisa. I figured I'd jump in because it seems like there is a moment of pause. So I'm pretty sure I know everyone on this call, but super happy to be familiar and see so many people we know interested in joining CCAC. So I'm just gonna say that, but in case you don't know, I am a current co-chair of CCAC, and I also serve on the board as treasurer for CCAC, and I've been around a long time. I was part of the initial steering committee, and so that, you know, I think that's almost 7 years or so of participation, and so what kept me around so long is because this is just so different than work. You know, I mean, I love my job, I love my work, but this is a completely separate for me network of people that are passionate and dedicated to the same things I am. So it's the like dedication to our mission, the people involved, and the fact that we're actually seeing tangible change happening. So it's not like something that you work on for 7 years and don't see any progress. I've actually seen a lot of progress, and a lot of it is due to all of you on the call and many other people. So it's just like a passionate, engaged, and active community. And, you know, I also am using my involvement to further develop skills that I don't use at my job. So like at my job, I'm very heavy into like community engagement and communication, but with CCAC, not that community engagement isn't first and foremost in all of our work, but I'm also very involved on our like budget side, our finance side. So it's been a professional development opportunity for me as well. So thanks, Emma, for the question, and I'll go back off video, but welcome, you know, being involved in further questions.
I'll add something. Hi, everybody. I'm Claire. Pronouns are she, her, also a steering committee member. And I will echo a few things Risa just said, because I think that's something that pops out for me in terms of why I've stayed engaged, is that I feel like I've gained so many skills professionally and just enriched my own knowledge base personally and professionally from being a part of this community. I joined initially a few years ago because I had such positive experiences attending some of the CCAC events that were just either socials or other educational opportunities, met some really great folks that are in this space that, you know, I was able to develop partnerships with through my professional work. And I work at a nonprofit that focuses on disability inclusion. I don't work at a cultural institution. So part of me, when I decided to consider joining, was wondering if I would have the knowledge or the skills to contribute to the group. And I think that that's one of the really positive things and empowering things about this network, is that we have so many diverse perspectives, and we can really elevate one another's, points of view and the way we're approaching things outside of the network as well as within it. So I found that I did have a place in that. I think the other thing that I want to add that kind of notes or ties back to that photo that Emma shared was that although there's, the work hard, play hard mindset, although there's a lot of work and organizing and planning, none of it ever doesn't feel fun to me because of the people that are involved and the people that we get to meet in the process. So I've met, just so many wonderful people that, I consider friends now, which I think is a really great aspect to thinking about the community element of CCAC.
Speaker Matthew Bivens.
For me, all of the things that both she and Risa, what everybody's mentioned, is that there's a lot of work. There's a lot of work getting done. There's genuine change happening in the time that I've been a part of CCAC, and not just a little bit. like captioning for live theater, for example, went from, really 0 to 60. These are real changes that are happening in the Chicago area. I'm really excited to see that they are branching out. But yes, all of that being said, there is a family element to it. And there are a lot of times where I'm a Southern boy. This is a cliche about me, but I'm a Southerner. And so Chicago winters, Chicago big city has been difficult. This is the family kind of that has kept me here for as long as I have been, which is a long ass time. So I think it's really important to have that community and that family in an organization that is serious. What we're trying to do is a serious thing. And so it really is the perfect blend of great friends and people who are ready to do a lot of work.
View of multiple meeting participants.
I'll speak for at least Hillary and myself, but I'm sure other committee members as well. If you have lingering questions after this meeting, please feel free to reach out to us. We would be happy to talk with you about anything that you want to know. In follow-up, we'll be sending out the application, so please take a look at that and fill it out and come join us. It's a really good time. We're really excited to be getting some new people in the mix. So thank you so much for taking the time today to come and meet with us. And I hope that we get to see your application soon.
Fade to black. White text on black background. Lunch and Learn. Intro to CCAC Steering Committee. Presented by Chicago Cultural Accessibility Consortium. For application and more information, visit chicagoculturalaccess.org. Workshop speakers and accessibility. Steering committee members: Hillary Pearson, Emma McLean, Brittany Pyle, Risa Rifkin, Claire Kelly, Matthew Bivens, Joe Gale, real-time captioning, Leandra Williams, ASL interpreter. Video editing, captioning, and audio description by BridgetMelton.com. Video fades to black.